On our wedding day, my fiancé Liam returned with the woman he'd always idealized, publicly humiliating me. Whispers erupted all around, and everyone expected me to break down on the spot. He probably thought so too. Too bad this grand wedding was never meant for her. After all, I was the one who set the stage, and he and the woman he'd always idealized were merely clowns I'd invited to take their bows at the final curtain. Grace, you're truly bold, secretly arranging a wedding behind my back. That familiar voice, I knew he was back. I turned and saw it was indeed Liam, with Avery standing beside him. This sudden turn of events caused an uproar among the guests, and whispers started everywhere. Who is that person? Daring to cause trouble at the Hayes and Vance family's wedding banquet, does he not want to make a living in Sterling City anymore? Isn't that the groom, Mr. Liam, the young master of the Hayes family? Why is he dressed like that? It's such a disrespect to the Vance family. This is truly unheard of. It's the first time I've seen someone ruin their own wedding. Faced with the guests' murmurs and accusations, Liam's forehead veins pulsed with anger. Some wanted to step forward and intervene, but seeing Liam's furious glare, they stopped. Liam glanced at me, dressed in my elaborate gown, and sneered, "Grace, I can't believe you'd resort to such tactics just to marry me. Do you think I'll give in just because you secretly arranged this wedding?" I tightly clutched the bouquet in my hands, my nails digging deep into the flower stems. I never imagined Liam could be so heartless towards me. Today was supposed to be our wedding day. When I was 18, Father drove Mother and me out for a fun day. On a winding mountain road, we encountered a landslide, and a massive boulder crashed onto our car. Father and Mother, who were in the front, died instantly, and I, in the back, was severely injured. What was worse, I was trapped in the car, just as I was abo. To lose consciousness from blood loss. A pair of strong hands pulled me out of the car. Before I fainted, I clearly saw his face. He was incredibly handsome. When I woke up in the hospital, he was gone. I searched everywhere for him, but there was no trace, as if he had never existed. Later, Grandpa sent me abroad to study, so I wouldn't dwell on my grief. 5 years later, at the homecoming banquet Grandpa held for me, I met him again. It turned out he was Liam, the heir to Hayes. Unfortunately, he seemed not to remember me. From then on, I pleaded with Grandpa to collaborate with the Hayes, creating every opportunity to meet him. I went to great lengths to learn his preferences, all just to have a few more words with him. We both came from business families, and my little crush quickly became widely known. Everyone laughed, calling me a doormat for him, but I didn't care. Until his birthday, I personally cooked a home-cooked birthday meal, intending to give it to him. While waiting outside his office, I unintentionally overheard someone say that Liam had a girl he really liked, a scholarship student their family sponsored. But because his family objected, they couldn't be together publicly. I was heartbroken to hear this, but I understood that love couldn't be forced, so I decided to stop bothering him. Seeing me unhappy at home, Grandpa announced that I was the Vance family's sole heir, and whoever married me would be the future head of the Vance family. I knew Grandpa also wanted to help me find someone to rely on. Suddenly, suitors came knocking incessantly. Although I wasn't keen, I didn't want to disappoint Grandpa's good intentions. So I agreed to meet and try to get along with the person he chose. To my surprise, the person who came was Liam. I was both surprised and shy, wanting to leave quickly, but he grabbed me. He smiled, his voice gentle. "Ms. Grace, why are you running? Can't you give me a chance?" I shyly pulled my hand away, taking a deep breath. "Mr. Liam, since you already like someone else, please don't joke like this." Liam's expression was unbothered, and he smiled faintly. "Ms. Grace, you've misunderstood. The person I like is right in front of me. I'm not joking." That day, I don't know how I got home, everything felt as blissful as a dream. From then on, Liam and I officially started dating. He was very good to me, gentle and thoughtful. At his urging, the Vance family invested a large sum of money into the Hayes family. He said we would be family sooner or later, and it would be better for the Vance to be managed by him sooner. I wasn't good at business to begin with, so I agreed to his request, thinking that being with him was enough. Until 3 months ago, Grandpa's illness worsened, and his only dying wish was for me to marry soon and have someone to rely on. The and Hayes families quickly set a wedding date. I joyfully brought the stock transfer agreement, hiding in the closet, wanting to surprise him. But I never expected to hear such a cruel truth instead. Avery, upon hearing that Liam was going to marry me, actually disappeared. Liam, seeing that he had already gained control of most of the Vance family's assets, decided to follow his heart and pursue his true love. He even commissioned a lifelike robot to humiliate me and the Vance family. I clutched the stock transfer agreement tightly in my hand, tears dripping onto the paper, blurring the name Grace. A secretly arranged wedding? I can't believe Ms. Grace is so desperate to marry. If I'd known Ms. Grace was so proactive, I should have tried my luck too. Ha 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 ha. It's rare to see a wealthy young lady throwing herself at someone like this. Hee 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 hee. The discussions below the stage grew louder, and all sorts of nasty rumors filled my ears. Before I could speak, my good friend Sarah couldn't hold back anymore. She stood in front of me, left hand on her hip, right finger pointing at Liam's nose as she yelled, "You scoundrel, weren't you the one on your knees begging Grace to marry you? The grand proposal of the century from a while ago is still on the trending topics, now you're denying it? You acted all high and mighty before, and I was genuinely fooled by you. Who knew you'd dare bring that manipulative woman here on the wedding day?" At this point, many guests finally realized what was happening. That's right, who doesn't know about Mr. Liam's grand proposal of the century to Grace? They say the flower arrangements alone cost tens of millions. Yes, and the tiara on Ms. Grace's head, it seems Mr. Liam spent $100 million to buy it at an auction. It's a royal treasure. I was fortunate enough to witness the proposal. Mr. Liam's affectionate gaze couldn't have been faked. Indeed, the wealthier they are, the more extravagant their games. Mr. Liam actually brought the other woman to cause a scene at the wedding. Seeing public opinion about to turn, Liam's face darkened. Avery, behind him, spoke first. "The unloved one is the other woman. Besides, Liam has been traveling abroad with me for the past 3 months. How could he have proposed to you? Liam, isn't that right?" Avery clung to Liam's arm, shaking him playfully. Liam looked at Avery with doting affection, patted her head, then turned and said, word by word, "That's right. For the past 3 months, I've indeed been with Avery abroad. I only just returned today." Liam's words left everyone bewildered. Liam himself said he'd been abroad all this time, so who was it then who so publicly professed love to Grace? Avery seized the opportunity, delivering a timely blow. She feigned surprise, acting as if she'd just realized. Could it be that Ms. Grace deliberately found a body double who looks a lot like Liam, trying to force him into compliance? "Ms. Grace, Liam and I truly love each other, just let go. Why do something so despicable, finding a look-alike to put on a show and drive a wedge between Liam and me?" Avery clung to. "Oh Liam," her chin held high, her eyes filled with disdain for me. Though said nothing, his intimate pose with Avery and his raised head made him look like a victorious rooster. Seeing this scene, the crowd naturally believed Avery's words to some extent. I gained a new understanding of Liam's shamelessness. They were clearly trampling on my sincerity and disregarding the reputation of the Hayes and Vance families, yet they still pushed the blame onto me. Hearing these words, Sarah gasped with anger, unable to hold back any longer. "You despicable pair, still spouting nonsense here. I'm going to make you regret those words today." Before I could react, Sarah had already charged forward menacingly. Just as she reached Avery, Liam quickly intervened, grabbing Sarah, while Avery beside him looked eager to join in. "Stop it. If you dare lay a finger on her today, my Vance family will make you pay." Hearing my words, Avery deliberately leaned closer to Liam, blinking her innocent large eyes. "She's so fierce, I'm scared." Liam smirked. "You did something so shameless, finding a body double. Do you really think the Vance family can protect you?" I gazed at the banquet hall entrance, seeing no one, and couldn't help but feel a little worried. Why isn't he here yet? I've long heard that Ms. Grace had a crush on Liam. I never thought she'd be obsessed to this extent. To think the dignified heir to the richest family would flaunt his affair like this. How disgusting. Liam is really unlucky to be targeted by such a lunatic. And that body double has been publicly parading affection with her for months. Who knows how wild they've been behind closed doors. No wonder Liam doesn't like her. The guests below believed Liam's one-sided story, and an endless stream of nasty words poured forth. For Vance and the Vance, I steeled myself and spoke. "We both know the truth of the matter. Regardless, I will get married today. The truth is, you tried to force me to marry you using our family's power, but failed. And now you've stooped so low as to find a body double, hoping to marry into the Hayes family while I was away and force me to acknowledge this marriage. The only person I will ever marry is Avery. Stop your delusional fantasies." Hearing him twist the facts so shamelessly, I laughed in disbelief. "Who said I was marrying you today?" At my words, the entire hall fell silent, so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Liam froze, his face instantly turning deathly pale. Avery was the first to recover, her sharp voice echoing through the hall. "Everyone knows today is the day the Hayes and Vance families unite. Ms. Grace, aren't you marrying into the Hayes family?" My voice was calm, like a still lake without a ripple, of course. Avery let out a snicker. Miss Grace, why be so stubborn? Liam is the sole heir of the Hayes family. With the union between the Vance and Hayes families today, who else could you marry besides Liam? Liam, hearing Avery's words, seemed to realize something, and he yelled, his face flushed, my and Mrs. Hayes are deeply in love and have no room for outsiders. Are you saying you're marrying my grandpa? I can't believe you'd invent such ridiculous lies just to get back at me. My Henry has always favored you, even more than he favors me. How despicable of you to slander him like this, damaging his reputation in his old age. With things escalating like this, the guests in the hall were all stunned, their mouths agape. Watching's frantic behavior, I found it utterly laughable. Out of consideration for our past, I had already given him more than enough face. I never intended to dwell on the absurd things he had done. But from beginning to end, he showed me no sincerity, caring not one bit for my feelings. It was truly disheartening. There was no point in saying more. I knew any explanation now would be futile, and I didn't want to get entangled with him. I had just turned around, wanting to get my phone to contact him. Who knew, after only a few steps, a powerful force suddenly pulled me back. The next second, I was yanked to the ground, my head hitting the floor hard. Something warm seemed to be flowing from the back of my head. Intense pain surged through me, and I instantly lost the strength to resist, collapsing helplessly onto the ground. I only saw Liam's twisted face. You shameless, malicious woman, don't even think about entering my Hayes family's door. Today is just a small lesson for you. With that, he roughly tore off the diamond necklace from my neck. This is a cherished piece of jewelry from my mother. You tricked it away, but now I'm taking it back. It's just returning to its rightful owner. After taking the necklace, Liam looked me up and down, revealing a cruel smile. Since you went to such lengths to arrange this wedding, I might as well make good use of it. All these jewels and accessories were paid for by my Hayes family, so of course they should belong to me. He ripped off my priceless tiara, then began tearing at my wedding gown. I desperately tried to raise my hands to push him away, but I couldn't muster any strength. The person I had once treated with such sincerity was now tearing my clothes in front of everyone. Tears of humiliation streamed down my cheeks. When I was with Liam, I had countless times imagined myself in a wedding gown, marrying him. But I never, ever expected him to treat me like this on the day I wore my wedding gown. Sarah cried frantically, but Avery held her back tightly, making her unable to move. I wanted to warn him, but no sound came out. I could only watch helplessly as Liam snatched my wedding gown, necklace, and tiara. Then, as if presenting a treasure, he brought them to Avery. Avery, I'm sorry you had to go through this today. I promise to give you an even grander wedding in the future. Avery beamed, eagerly putting on the necklace and tiara. Sarah finally broke free and tearfully pulled me into a hug. With my wedding gown torn off, I was left in only my undergarments, almost naked and exposed to everyone. Many male guests in the audience gave me greedy looks, and I could even hear some of them swallowing. Sarah tried desperately to shield me from those lecherous stares, but it was useless. Her eyes red, she shrieked hysterically, Liam, you scoundrel, you deserve the worst. Avery whined sweetly to Liam, Liam, look at them, they're so annoying. Make them leave, quickly. Liam affectionately flicked Avery's nose. All right, you win. I'll make them leave right now. Liam turned around and said coldly, Grace, leave immediately today. I won't press charges against you, but I advise you to behave yourself in the future. With that, he came over to pull at Sarah and me. Doe fought desperately, flailing her arms to push Liam away and stop him from hurting me further. But the difference in strength between them was too great. Sarah was kicked away by Liam, no longer able to resist. Under fearful gazes, Liam approached me step by step, dragging me by my hair across the stage, trying to throw me out of the banquet hall. The intense pain from my scalp left me utterly powerless. The dual humiliation, both psychological and physical, made me instantly lose the will to live. Just as I was despairing, a dark figure rushed towards me. Soon, Liam was sent flying as if kicked by an immense force. The next second, I was gently lifted, and a large black suit jacket was wrapped tightly around me. I clutched his arm tightly, as if grasping a lifeline. You came. He gently pushed aside the stray hairs from my face, looked at my bloodless complexion, and said, full of guilt and sorrow, I'm here. It's all my fault for being late. I'll take you away. Liam scrambled to his feet, his face pale, clutching his stomach, and roared exasperatedly, Who are you, you blind fool? Do you know who I am? Marcus slowly raised his head, his eyes sharp and his voice cold. Did you hurt her? He had acted Ed too quickly before, and then had kept his head down, holding me. Only now, as he raised his head, did the crowd finally get a clear look at him. He looked exactly like Liam. Everyone present gasped. This must be the body double Ms. Grace found. He's absolutely identical. Could it be that the one causing trouble is the fake one? This show today is truly something. It's too exciting. Liam, also surprised by his appearance, blurted out, "How is that possible? I already had someone destroy." He paused for a moment, but quickly recovered. His eyes filled with disdain, his arrogant demeanor undiminished. "You must be the body double that despicable woman hired. Perfect timing, I'll take care of both of you illicit lovers today. You hurt my wife and ruined my wedding. Today, you will pay the price." Marcus was expressionless, his voice as calm as still water, yet I clearly saw a flicker of murderous intent in his eyes. Marcus glanced at Sarah, who understood immediately and carefully took me from his arms. "Take care of her." I knew he wanted to teach Liam a lesson for me, but Liam had practiced martial arts since childhood, and I was afraid Marcus would be at a disadvantage. Just as I was about to stop Marcus, he gently stroked my head and smiled dotingly at me. "Be good, wait for me a moment." Then, Marcus rolled up his sleeves, loosened his tie, and an aura of stern determination emerged. Liam felt a flicker of fear seeing Marcus's imposing presence, but constrained by Avery and the people present, he didn't want to lose face. "Whoever helps me take down this imposter today will be my friend forever, and the Hays will fully support them." Hearing this temptation, many were eager to try, as aligning with the Hays promised a boundless future. But seeing Marcus's somber face and intimidating aura, coupled with the fact that no one was sure who the real Liam was, no one dared to act rashly and wade into these muddy waters. Liam, seeing this, became furious and increasingly impatient. Perhaps emboldened by his training in combat, he threw a punch at Marcus. Marcus remained unfazed. As approached, he quickly landed a punch that sent Liam sprawling to the ground. Marcus put his full strength into that punch, instantly drawing blood from Liam's mouth and leaving him unable to fight back, but had no intention of stopping there. As he grabbed Liam's collar, preparing to strike again, a powerful, resonant voice rang out. "Stop. Haven't you made enough of a spectacle today?" The newcomer was none other than Liam's grandpa, Henry himself, the true head of the Hays, a ruthless figure whose every move could shake Sterling City. However, Grandpa had retired from the public eye many years ago, recuperating abroad. I myself had only met him a few times. Before I could fully grasp the situation, Grandpa noticed my disheveled state. "Grace, who hurt you so badly?" Just as I was about to speak, Avery, who was standing nearby, interrupted me and quickly said, "Grandpa, Ms. Grace, taking advantage of Liam's absence, secretly found a body double who looks like Liam, intending to harm Liam and force her way into the Hays family. That's why Liam couldn't stand it and merely taught her a small lesson." Liam didn't notice Grandpa's displeased expression, thinking he was there to support him, and quickly chimed in, "Grandpa, Grace intended to seize my Hays family's assets, even resorting to such a malicious method as finding a body double and being intimately involved with him. She secretly held this wedding while I was away. Such a malicious and frivolous woman doesn't deserve to enter my Hays family's door. I just taught her a lesson, but who knew she'd team up with the body double she hired to humiliate me like this? Please, Grandpa, rule in my favor." After hearing the full story, Grandpa's expression grew even darker, almost dripping with gloom. "I will certainly rule in your favor." Just as I was about to explain, I saw Grandpa deliver a resounding slap across Liam's face. I imagine not only was Liam stunned by the slap, but everyone else present also couldn't understand Grandpa's intention. After all, Liam was his direct grandson. Liam clutched the red and swollen side of his face, disbelief in his voice. "Grandpa, I'm your own grandson." Grandpa glanced at Liam and snorted coldly, "You disgrace." He then turned and, with a pleasant expression, spoke to Marcus and me. "Grace, Marcus, this unruly boy acted inappropriately. I will teach him a good lesson when we get back. For today, let's consider this resolved for my sake." Although Henry's tone was calm, his words were like a thunderclap, causing everyone to gasp in shock. Marcus was the leader of the syndicate, a prominent figure in Sterling City who commanded great influence, holding high status in both the legal and underground worlds. However, Marcus had always been mysterious, never appearing in public. Outsiders only knew his name but had never seen his true appearance. Liam's face instantly changed. "Impossible. Absolutely impossible. He can't be Marcus, he's just an imposter Grace found to impersonate me." Marcus stood in front of me, his presence commanding despite his lack of anger. Not only did Liam humiliate my wife, but he's still unrepentant and slandering us as a couple. How can I possibly let him off? Grandpa sighed helplessly. Alright, Liam did go too far this time, injuring Grace so severely. Go easy on him, don't take his life. Marcus's fists clenched audibly. As advanced, Liam's fear was laid bare. Just when everyone thought Liam was about to get a severe beating, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, who had arrived late, timely stopped the enraged Marcus. With the arrival of Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, Liam finally breathed a sigh of relief. Grandpa had always prioritized profit and might not care about Liam's fate, but Mr. and Mrs. Hayes had always doted on him and would surely take his side. Father, Mother, it's all Grace's fault and that poster she found. They faked a wedding. They tried to seize my Hayes family's assets. We absolutely cannot let them off. Mrs. Hayes hastily interrupted Liam, trying to smooth things over. What are you talking about? Apologize to your older brother and sister-in-law at once. Liam was utterly bewildered, his eyes wide as he questioned, Mother, what nonsense are you spouting? I don't have an older brother. Mrs. Hayes, Marcus is your older brother. Today is your older brother's wedding to Grace. Liam couldn't accept it. He turned to Mr. Hayes and Grandpa, determined to get to the bottom of it. Grandpa nodded slightly. Mr. Hayes reluctantly revealed the old story, while Mrs. Hayes was already in tears. Back then, Mrs. Hayes had been pregnant with twins, giving birth to 2 boys. One was Liam, and the other was Marcus. But not long after the twins were born, they were stolen by an enemy of the Hayes family. If the kidnappers had only wanted money, the Hayes family would have paid any amount to get them back. However, the kidnappers insisted that Mr. and Mrs. Hayes endure heartbreaking agony, forcing them to choose only one of the 2 infants. Mr. and Mrs. Hayes chose Liam, who was healthier, believing their other son had already died. To avoid bringing up painful memories again, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes never spoke of it, publicly claiming they only had one son, Liam, who also remained unaware of this truth, and was the child lost by the Hayes family back then. Initially, after I overheard Liam running away from the wedding to pursue Avery, I had already decided to call off the engagement. I personally went to Mr. and Mrs. Hayes and explained the full story, cause and effect. They were furious and agreed to cancel the engagement. But we were all greatly shocked when we saw the robot Liam had commissioned. How could there be such a sophisticated robot in the world? I couldn't help but reach out and pinch his face. His skin was so smooth and radiant, it was truly unbelievable. Lou. After being thoroughly examined by me, the robot finally couldn't help but speak. Ms. Grace, have you touched enough? Am I a robot? My face instantly flushed, and I awkwardly lowered my hand. Mr. and Mrs. Hayes immediately suspected that Marcus might be the child they had lost years ago. The paternity test results confirmed their suspicions. I originally intended to retire gracefully, with no further ties to the Hayes family, but Marcus unexpectedly launched a fierce pursuit. Since Vance had been seriously ill and couldn't handle any shocks, I was afraid that if Grandpa knew what Liam had done to me, his condition would worsen from anger. I had no choice but to ask Marcus to temporarily continue impersonating Liam, so that Grandpa would know I was happy and content, with no worries. Marcus was naturally willing to help me. Grandpa's greatest wish was to see me married, and after spending some time together, I gradually became touched by Marcus. At the same time, I realized I might have recognized the wrong person back then. After discussion, the union between the Vance and Hayes families remained unchanged, only it became my marriage to Marcus, and the Hayes family planned to officially announce his identity on the wedding day. Liam never imagined the truth would be like this, far beyond his control. He sat on the ground, shaking his head, and screamed hoarsely, "He can't be my older brother. He's the lifelike robot I commissioned. I think Mr. Liam has gone crazy, spouting such absurdities. There's no such sophisticated robot in the world. First he said Ms. Grace found a body double, now he's saying it's a robot. I'd bet he's gone mentally ill. He's truly brought this upon himself. He thought he could annex the Vance family, but now he probably can't even keep his own standing in the Hayes family." The crowd below whispered with either sarcasm or ridicule. Liam, when he was in power, had always been arrogant and offended many people. Unable to bear the crowd's doubts, Liam fumbled for his phone. "I have proof." The phone rang a few times and was answered. To prove himself, Liam even put it on speaker. 3 days ago, I told you to destroy the lifelike robot I commissioned. Why is he still here? Mr. Liam, what are you talking about? What robot? Liam tried to say more, but the other party had already hung up. This completely confirmed the fact that Liam had gone insane. Perhaps unable to accept the truth, or perhaps unable to bear the crowd's discussions and ridicule, Liam's eyes rolled back, and he fainted. Mrs. Hayes's heart ached, and tears streamed down her face. Although both Marcus and Liam were her sons, Liam was the one she had raised since childhood, and their bond was deep. Marcus, Liam is already in this state. I think we should just let this matter go. Marcus's voice remained cold. Let it go? Who will account for Grace's suffering then? Mrs. Hayes turned to me to apologize, but her tone clearly carried a veiled threat. Grace, Liam did wrong by you, but what's done is done. I've always cherished you like my own daughter. You wouldn't want Marcus, having just returned, to turn against his own brother for your sake, would you? Cherishing me like her own daughter, that was just lip service. She completely ignored my injuries, only protecting her useless child. Although I was displeased, I couldn't bear for Marcus, having just returned to the Hayes family, to have friction with his family because of me. He had been alone for years, and though he didn't say it, he must have longed to be with his family. Marcus was about to speak again, but I interrupted him just in time. Marcus, I'm in so much pain. Hearing this, Marcus stopped arguing with them, quickly picked me up, his eyes filled with sorrow and guilt. It's all my fault. I'll take you to the hospital first. After such an ordeal, I was utterly exhausted. In his warm embrace, inhaling his familiar scent, I knew I hadn't mistaken him this time. Thinking this, I soon lost consciousness. When I woke again, a pristine white ceiling met my eyes, and the scent of disinfectant filled my nostrils. I turned my head and saw Marcus sleeping beside the hospital bed, guarding me. Before I could move, Marcus groggily opened his eyes. Seeing me awake, Marcus instantly became alert, holding my hand and asking with concern, Grace, are you feeling better? Then, his expression filled with regret. I'm so sorry, it's all my fault for being late, which caused you to get hurt. I looked at his pained expression and squeezed his hand back. It's not your fault. Hearing this, Marcus hugged me tightly, overjoyed. Grace, I won't let anyone hurt you ever again. I've already recovered all the assets of the Vance that Liam took from you. I also had Grandpa temporarily revoke his position at the Hayes and freeze all his assets. I won't let go of anyone who has bullied you. His tone with me was incredibly gentle, but I could feel his seriousness and resolve. During my time in the hospital, Marcus took meticulous care of me, and I recovered quickly. Grandpa's health also gradually recovered after surgery by a top specialist. Marcus's delay on our wedding day was because he went to pick up this world-class expert. Although I never blamed him, I was still deeply moved knowing what he had done for me. After Vance's recovery, Marcus and I told him everything. Grandpa was furious when he learned of Liam's actions, and he didn't even look kindly upon Marcus at first. Marcus repeatedly assured Grandpa that he would be completely devoted to me for life. He not only recovered all the assets Liam had swindled from me but also transferred all his own property to me. Everything was slowly getting better. With the two people who loved me most by my side, life was happy and complete. If I hadn't encountered Liam again, I would have almost forgotten those unpleasant memories. Seeing again, he was no longer the spirited and arrogant man he once was. Now, he looked listless, exuding an air of decay. I didn't want to deal with him and turned to leave, but he blocked my way. Grace, are you doing well? I'm not doing well at all. I've thought a lot these past few days and reflected on myself. Everything that happened this time was my fault. I was too reckless. I thought you would wait for me forever. It wasn't until the day you married Marcus that I realized you were always the one I truly loved. I can't lose you. Can we start over? I rolled my eyes at him. Oh? You loved me? What about Avery? Wasn't she your true love? At the mention of Avery, Liam suddenly became agitated. Don't even talk about that woman. She just climbed onto someone else once she saw I was out of favor. As he spoke, agitated, he grabbed my arms and shook them. Grace, let's start over. I know you only like Marcus because he looks like me. He's just my stand-in. His grip was strong, my arms were firmly clasped, and my face turned pale from the pain. Liam continued to ramble, then leaned in, trying to kiss me. I felt like there was no escape. The next second, Liam was sent flying. You're asking for death. Before he could even catch his breath, another flying kick sent Liam sprawling to the ground, leaving him no room to react. Marcus walked over and kicked him several more times. Finally, he grabbed Liam's right hand, twisted it forcefully, and with a sickening crack, Liam's shoulder was dislocated. Liam shrieked once, then fainted. After dealing with him, Marcus quickly took me home, got out the first aid kit, and applied medicine to my bruised and swollen arm where Liam had gripped it. He didn't say a word, but his movements were incredibly gentle. I could see his displeasure and tried hard to cheer him up. But then he suddenly looked up and asked with utmost seriousness, "Do you really only like me because I look like him?" Hearing this, I let out a giggle. So he had heard Liam's nonsense. Seeing my reaction, Marcus lowered his head and said nothing, clearly saddened. I gently lifted his head, looked into his eyes, and said with utmost sincerity, "It's you I love, it always has been. Liam was just a stand-in for you. I've loved you ever since you rescued me from that car accident." At this point, I feigned annoyance. If you hadn't disappeared for so many years, how could I have mistaken Liam for you and been so terribly deceived by him? Marcus quickly explained. At that time, the syndicate was in chaos and fraught with danger. If I had stayed by your side, it would surely have put you in harm's way. So I had no choice but to leave alone after ensuring your safety. When I resolved the internal affairs of the syndicate and wanted to come back for you, I found you already had him by your side. Fortunately, Liam was such an idiot, which gave us the chance to reunite. Marcus held me, murmuring tenderly in my ear, "Grace, I will protect you forever." A few days later, there was a betrayal within the syndicate, requiring Marcus's personal attention. I had wanted to go with him, but the people in the syndicate were ruthless, hardened individuals who lived by their blades. Marcus told me to just wait for him, and once this matter was resolved, he would step down as leader and spend the rest of his life only with me. I hugged him tightly, reluctant to let go, saying, "I'll wait for you to come back." After left, I either went to the company or to the hospital to accompany Grandpa every day. After what happened with Liam, I understood that it's better to rely on myself than on others. Although was capable and willing to help me manage the company, I no longer wanted to be a vine dependent on others. It was another day of working late into the night. As soon as I reached my doorstep, I felt a sharp pain and lost consciousness. When I woke up again, my hands and feet were bound, and I couldn't move. Before I could even think about who had done it, Liam walked in. He pinched my chin, his expression gentle but his eyes filled with malice. "Grace, how could you change your mind so easily? You used to be so devoted to me. Why are you with Marcus now?" I looked at him coldly. "I never loved you. You were always just a substitute for Marcus. I mistook you for him back then. In my heart, you don't even come close to him." Liam's face twisted, gradually becoming deranged. "Then why didn't you keep making that mistake?" "Because of you, I lost everything I once had. But soon, everything will return to normal. Marcus is dead. As long as you agree to transfer all your property to me, we can go back to how we were, together." With that, he took out a ring, the one I had personally put on Marcus's finger before our wedding. I roared loudly, "How did you get this ring? What did you do to him?" Liam was almost hysterical. "Why must there be two of us? He's a corpse now." My heart pounded with panic. I couldn't believe it. "Impossible. How could you have killed him when you have no power or influence now?" Liam laughed maniacally. "Guess who else wanted him dead besides me? A man who had been dead for so many years suddenly returned, and to get back at them for you, he took half of the Hayes family's fortune and gave it to you. Do you think the Hayes family could tolerate such a disloyal to their own family guy?" My heart sank, realizing Marcus had taken half of the Hayes family's fortune for my sake. Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, needless to say, had raised Liam with boundless love since he was a child, so their affection for him was naturally much deeper than for Marcus. Grandpa, who had toiled half his life for Hayes, would certainly be displeased. But I never imagined they could be so cruel. Liam advanced step by step, and I had nowhere to retreat. I could only watch helplessly as he moved closer. "Grace, now that the annoying people are gone, we can finally be together, properly." Then he began to tear at my clothes. My heart sank into despair, and I closed my eyes, unwilling to face it. Suddenly, I felt a lightness, and Liam lay to one side, letting out a cry of pain. Marcus suddenly appeared, his presence intimidating, exuding an oppressive aura. "I gave you a second chance last time. Since you haven't repented, go reflect on your actions in prison." Soon, Liam, along with Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, were taken away by the police. Intentional homicide and kidnapping are serious crimes. After everything settled, Marcus finally let out a sigh of relief and held me tightly. Marcus had handed over all their criminal evidence to the police. The evidence was overwhelming. Liam, Mr. Hayes, and Mrs. Hayes were sentenced to 15, 13, and 10 years in prison, respectively. Marcus had already made arrangements inside the prison, so the three of them were tormented by the prison inmates every day, living a life of utter misery. They constantly clamored to see me and Marcus, but we ignored them. Grandpa, to compensate Marcus, transferred all the assets of the Hayes to Marcus, truly retiring himself. One day, as I was watching TV in Marcus's embrace, I looked up and asked him if he regretted doing so much regarding the Hayes family for my sake. Marcus lovingly stroked my head, having you is enough. When I was little, I was often bullied at the orphanage. Then one day, when I was being beaten, a little princess suddenly stood in front of me. She fiercely warned the others not to bully me anymore. She carefully bandaged my wounds and even gave me her favorite candy, telling me that eating candy would make the pain go away. Later, I learned that the little princess was the Vance family's cherished daughter, and how could I ever be worthy of her? Then, Donovan, the leader of the syndicate, adopted me. He was very strict with me, but I felt very happy, feeling that one day I would be worthy of the little princess in my heart. Later, when I finally became worthy of you, you were already with Liam. I had originally intended to just silent. Why protect you? But then I discovered Liam's disloyalty, which led me to set up a scheme to come to your side. Listening to Marcus's story, my eyes welled up with tears. I never imagined that Marcus was the little boy I had met at the orphanage that year. I had once wanted my parents to adopt him, but when we went back to the orphanage, he was no longer there. Although he was adopted by the leader of the syndicate as his successor, he had never truly experienced the warmth of a family. I hugged him tightly. It's a good thing we didn't miss each other this time. I leaned in close and whispered to him, "You're going to be a father." Marcus froze for a moment, then, recovering, he happily picked me up and spun me around several times. He looked at me deeply and said, "Grace, thank you for giving me a family again." Laughter filled the entire room and lingered for a long time. Thanks for watching today's story. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your views, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.